All right, hey everyone, Goff here. Thank you very much. Agency Success GPS. About every, 4, 5, 6 episodes, pretty much whenever I get a while here, or if I just have a killer success story to share with you, I'm going to bring some people in like this guy right here, Brennen Bliss. Y'all have seen, I think we've done a couple videos together, and I think, matter of fact, you're one of my most watched videos, I think, on YouTube. I don't remember a lot of views like that. People have asked me about you a lot. I don't know if you know. I don't think I've ever told you that. Anyway, they ask me about you all the time. Like, and I've actually had students of mine say, "I want to be the next Brennen Bliss." Did I take one? Did you know that?
That's scary. They don't know what they're getting into.
They don't. Right? And by the way, that looked like you had a great time in New York City last week. That was whatever. That was in New York.
Super sick. Somehow made it look like I was not in the pictures.
All right, well, Brennen is here. Brennen is one of my star few. I mean, he is just, can't say enough good things about this guy right here. How old are you now? 20, 21? How old are you? I can't believe.
I'll be 21 in less than a month.
Less than a month
yesterday.
And you started your agency when you were 16, I think, right?
Yeah, I actually incorporated the business at 14 years old. I did it. I was doing app development, and I pushed my dad because I wasn't old enough to do it. So the LLC was established in 2014, but the actual agencies took off in my freshman year of high school.
Freshman year of high school, okay. All right, and that was in 2015, I think, right?
15 or 16, yeah.
2015 or 16?
No, it was 2016, yeah.
2016, okay. And you and I started working together right towards the very end of 2017. And in 2017, you had your best revenue. Not because I had anything to do with me. This is, you hired me literally, I think it's like December, late, towards the end of it. You did $181,000 in 2017, and then you hired me, and you were like, okay, the things I don't know are hurting me, and they were, right? And so we kind of went through my discovery process. Remember the big three? Okay, the big three pain points. We go through the discovery process, and we isolate the three things that are in your way. Right? Whether it's the things you don't know, or the things, what I call limiting beliefs, head trash, or just the tools, whatever that might be. So
yeah, me, and me. Those are the three.
It always, by the way, that's universal. Every single time there was anything that held me back from growing, get you are in my first agency. When I looked in the mirror, 100% of the time, it was 100% my fault. Yeah. That sucks, man, when you work so hard, right? But anyway, that's just the truth. Get used to that one out there. If you're an aspiring agency owner or a veteran, if you're a veteran, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're aspiring, get used to being, wrong a lot. But you just got to roll with it. That. Failure is a stepping stone to success. So this is what's called the agency success story, and we're featuring Brennen. He and I, been working together for a couple of years now, and just a world-class human being. And I'll tell you, I am so impressed with everything that he's accomplished. I'd like to take a little bit of credit for it, but the cold hard truth is this guy works harder than about anyone I know. He is not afraid of a damn thing, okay? If something gets in his way, as a matter of fact, it pisses him off. It reminds me of me. Yeah. Okay, whenever something gets in his way, I used to say this all the time. Boy, I used to piss my staff off. You're either on my bus or we get ran over by my bus. I'm going to get to the destination. Make no mistake. And you're that same way. And you're not going to hurt anybody in the process. I guess I need to come up with a better saying, because you're not actually hurting anyone. You're not really going to go.
Yeah, we're very value driven around here, and but now that I think of it, running people over with a metaphorical bus does not violate any of our values. No, I'm kidding.
And there are times.
Oh, goodness.
There are times. Okay,
I've got great people on my team right now. My bus is a party right now. So
that's good. Oh, I love it. Okay, before we dive off into this, man, take the next few minutes. Just tell them who you are, what you do, why, what's going on. Pixelcut. Tell us the Brennen story.
Cool. Yeah. So Pixelcut Labs, the name was chosen by the 14-year-old version of me. So give me a break. But essentially, what we do is just one thing and one thing only: search engine optimization. We've got a couple of very specialized SEO services, but we span the 3 different categories of what you need to succeed with SEO. So we've got technical and on-site improvements, and then on to content and content development. Finally, authority building, which is also known as link building, just the non-spammy way. Which essentially falls under the umbrella of managed PR with SEO as the goal. So we do all those 3 things. About 40% of our clients are in the e-commerce space. They're consumer packaged good products, the products that are going to consumers, B2C. And we work with everybody, but really our most success comes out of working with consumer-facing brands in e-commerce.
Okay, and that's a new development. We're going to talk about that one. I'm so excited about that. The e-commerce is, when I say new, in the last year. Anyway, we'll get to that here. So, again, and like I was talking about earlier, whenever you first came on board, so driven and so full of passion, right? So it actually took a little bit of just slowing you down, just a little bit to kind of, I say this all the time, by slowing down in business, you actually speed up. And you know what I'm talking about now, but at that time, he was like, you don't know about all that. You know what I'm talking about? Everybody told me I need to hustle harder. So anyway, so what we did is this. We go through my discovery process. And what happens is that we found out that there were basically three things that were really kind of putting a lot of pressure on him. And by the way, if you have a lot of stress and pressure on you, it's slowing your entire business down. So that stress is just like putting a 50-pound weight on you. Try to run a marathon with a 50-pound weight on you. It's not going to work. Okay, so we isolated the three things that we felt were going to make the biggest impact for him. That really kind of either explode growth or release some of that pressure. Like, cut that off. Do not disturb. My bad. Okay.
I'm trying to fix my lighting while we're. Can I do that real quick?
Yeah, sure. We can edit this part out. So.
I'm trying to, because I've got a huge shadow. That's why you saw my screen flashing. I was trying to pull up something that was going to reduce that. There we go. Much better. Cool.
Much better. Okay, cool. And we'll edit this part out. Where are we in this thing? We are, what time is it? 12 minutes. We're at the 11-minute mark. Okay, cool. 11-minute mark. I'll come in and edit this out. Okay, cool. So, on the discovery process, we isolated the three things that were kind of holding your agency back from explosive growth, or again, releasing that pressure off your shoulders so you can get fresh minds. Fresh minds equal fresh ideas. I used to say that all the time as well. So, and out of the discovery process, we isolated three things. I'm going to cover two of those today, and then I added the third one. That one came a little bit down in the process, a little later in the process. We didn't isolate that problem until down the road. But the first two were a service framework. They wasn't there, I think. Is that easy to say? It didn't exist, okay? Second one is we had to kind of dial in his offerings, right? He was doing website. Honestly, he was doing the same thing we all did when we first started.
$10
money, I will take your money, and then I'm going to figure it out later, okay? And so, he was spread way too thin. And then the third one was the pressure of driving that revenue all by himself. It sits on you. It sits on your mind. And so we had to figure out a way, because his clients were ecstatic. Okay, they love him. And so we had to figure out a way to get more revenue out of the clients. And so that's the three things we're going to talk about today with Brennen here. It is going to be the service framework. What did we do, and what kind of impact did it make for you in your life? Okay. Second is whenever we streamline your offerings, what happened? Third is we found a way to get more revenue coming out of your service department. So not all of the pressure of driving new revenue was on your shoulders. That's sound about right?
Yeah,
right.
Sounds good.
Let's get started then. So first one's first, the service framework. What did your service framework look like before you and I started working together?
Send an invoice and try to figure out how to do it after. It wasn't that bad, but it was pretty close to that. I mean, we did not have any documented processes on how to.
And then basically, you honestly, man, I'm not sure. I used to think they were mistakes. I don't think it's mistakes. I think it's more of a rite of passage at this point. I think it's more of a learning process. I think we all kind of go through that. Okay, this didn't work. Now I see why everybody says to document everything. At first you think, God, if I got to document everything, it's going to slow me down so much. And then you realize, no, that's not the case. Mm-hmm. Documents, that's pretty much what we did. Is one of his at the time, his senior project, actually at the time, she was just kind of working side by side. You didn't even have the project management position defined.
Not
at all. And so we were all.
I hired a full-time position for a service that was generating $2,000 a month in revenue for us. And that was my first hire. Not a sustainable business model, might I add.
No. But she turned out to be a rock star, and she came in and she helped a lot to get the service framework documents. Yeah. And if you're listening out there and you're not sure what those documents are, I'm going to give you a few examples. Project scopes, change orders, phase sign-offs. Those are I would call the big three, right? And so there's a lot more to it. You got your legal agreements. There's 5 legal agreements. There's a lot more to it than that. But just at a very rudimentary level, if you get the project scope, meaning after you sell them, you shake them out of that dreamy sales world and you put them into the pragmatic service deliverable world, okay? Mm-hmm. And then
with the modification that you try never to put them in that dreamy world, right? It's a matter of when you're selling, it's you sell the scope, you sell what's going to be done and the results that can come from it. But it's so important to just and I'm just adding my 2 cents there. When I started selling real expectations, our retention rates went up, the stress went down, and it just makes a world of difference. So. Sell based on the scope.
Okay, exactly. And so I'm going to unpack that a little bit. What he's saying is that a lot of people try to do these really custom loan proposals and wow, and it's so awesome, and we're gonna build a loan for you in one day for $5, all this stuff, and that's not the way to go about doing it. You do have to be a little more salesy in your proposal, but it better be in perfect alignment with your scope document. And the scope document's the very black and white, very legal kind of document that says we're going to communicate this way. If you go outside of scope, we're going to hit you with a change order. If when we get done with the copy, before we touch any design, you're going to sign a phase sign-off document. And all it does is just it creates a level of accountability for your staff, and just as importantly, if not more importantly, for the client. Because see, the clients are the path of least resistance kind of people. Okay, and before I go into that, I just want to stop and say, what do these so when you sign a new client, what is the onboarding process and how do you get to the scope document and what happens in that process now?
So I'll take a couple minutes just to talk about how we bring on new clients, because this has been world changing in the way that we do it. And as I mentioned, retention. I mean, we're now over $500,000 in revenue, which 2 years shake up from 170, 181 is a big increase. So it's been a lot to manage. But the reason for that essentially is SEO. Just with any service, you can't predict what's going to happen. It's easier with ads. It's easier with the website. With SEO, it's like we're going to do everything that we can, and it still might not work. So what I do in my sales process is I say, it's going to take a long time. It's going to cost a lot of money, and there's a 90% chance it's going to work. So I'm already setting the expectations, and just selling honestly makes a huge difference. So
did you find whenever you started selling honestly like that, you actually closed at a higher percentage and you close at a higher percentage? And
I close the right deals too. So the people who are scared of that, so typically we're closing people that have already worked with an SEO agency, because our approach, our process, which highlights extensively the 3 categories of transparency, accountability, and education. Those 3 things together are the things that other agencies don't typically have when they haven't built the experience to be able to deliver on the things that they want to.
Secret sauce for my first agent to get you wired, okay? And this is no joke. Here's what it's kind of when I say this, it's kind of sad state affairs of our agency of the industry at the time. Mm-hmm. Transparent, ethical, and respectful communications.
Yeah.
Now, all other industries, that's a requirement to stay in business. In ours, for the first 10 years, it was a competitive advantage, and that's what you're doing. And because people have been ripped off so much, and now your transparent processes like that, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom of our agreement says there's no early cancellation, because the way we amortize our services, so it's a lot more expensive in the first months, but we spread it evenly across the entire service. So there's no early cancellation. Takes a long time. Might not work. You're going to hate it sometimes, but you're going to love it at other times. Just stick with us, and we'll guide you to success through you're actually committing to a process that is proven to be working. So expectation setting changes everything. And then going back to our original conversation, talking about how we onboard a project, I've automated some of the parts that can be done over and over since we have the project plan. I fill out a form and it automatically creates the project in our project management system, sends a welcome email, gets the meeting scheduled, does all of that. So when it's time to actually have touch points, and I can actually bill at the $275 an hour rate that I build into the campaigns for myself, I'm actually making the most of that time. So I can't be sending emails and charging $275 an hour, but I can be sitting and having a healthy conversation about setting SEO goals, and 15 minutes of that could be billed at $275 an hour, and that is actually worth that. So getting rid of the things that are just cumbersome, and having our project manager just do the things that a computer can't do, to make the onboarding process consistent and fast makes a big difference in the client experience and sets the tone for the rest of the campaign.
Love it. And then I'm assuming you're still actually physically in the onboarding meeting, the project kickoff meeting, what we call it. What you still calling it the project kickoff meeting?
Yeah, it's a kickoff call. Kickoff call. We have a big worksheet that the client fills out to tell us all about the company.
And then you're also going through these actual scope document. And remember, there were, I think, 6 points that I coach everybody on. Make sure you cover the communications, the single point in, single point out. How much of a difference is a single point in, single point out?
It's not the easiest thing to enforce.
It's not. It's kind of hard. You have to. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are definitely times where we have to remind a client, we need you to communicate this way so we don't drop the ball. But we really do put it in a way. We don't get angry with the client when they do it. We'll just take their email. If they send us an email, copy and paste it into the project management system and respond via that. And that just coaches them to use that. Some people never learn, but they're paying us. We do our best to to help them. I mean, what we're doing is optimizing the process so it works for them, because every second that we spend moving an email to the project management system is one less second we could spend on strategy and implementation.
Yeah.
And we make that very clear because all of our services are packaged based on the amount of time that we spend on the work that we're doing.
Yeah. So. Well, and again, there are always going to be those clients. Okay, let's say you have 100 clients there. I promise you there will be 10 of them that just simply refuse to log into the system and do it.
And those are not our people.
Huh?
Those are not our clients then.
That's exactly right. We
look for that in the sales process.
Like double the fee that you charge them and then just do it for them.
Well, no, I mean, in the sales process, process, I get them excited about the project management system. I get them excited about the custom software that we're building that's almost built that I'm really excited about. All these different things to make sure that we're getting the right clients. And the close rate is lower than it could be because I intensely set expectations low. And the people who sign on with us must be very, have a negative outlook on the future, because I say the worst things. I say it might not work and they still move forward. So it's a matter of, finding the right people and being honest this process slowly, so the people who aren't interested or won't fit weed themselves out.
You're being honest what you are. I mean, that's what you're saying is the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
Look, man, there might be another company out there that's better than you. I doubt it, but it could happen. That actually, and in other words, like if you're an SEO company, you have to scale the mountain in front of you. And that mountain in front of you, meaning if somebody got out there in 1982 and started building backlinks, and they've got 5 billion backlinks from Adobe and everybody, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough to overcome that mountain. But you're honest about it. You're honest and you're transparent about it. And I'm going to tell you, what I learned in business is the higher you go up in business, the more you appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. You can tell. You can smell it.
You can smell it a mile away, man. You can smell it when they're desperate. You can smell it on them, right? And so whenever you're just 100% honest and you are candid, look, man, I can tell you right now, about 80% chance I'm going to be able to scale that mountain. But if we get a big snowstorm halfway up in the middle of it, there's nothing I can do. It's what it is. It is what
it's hard. It's not always easy. Sometimes I need the business. Sometimes I'm bringing on a new expense and I need the business, and keeping myself from looking desperate. There's all these things that business owners go through. The pain of having all the weight on your shoulders, having to hire, having to fire, having to just feel like you're not adequate at what you do. And one of the hardest things to do is to not be desperate when you actually are desperate. Because it's going to happen no matter how good a business is. There are good times and there are really, really bad times. That's why I keep this book right here, The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz, because it's always, whenever I'm feeling bad, it's a story that happened that is way worse than what I'm going through in business. And it grounds me. So that's, business is not going to work all the time. It's.
I'm sure I've said this to you because I think I said this to by the way, a lot of my students call me whenever they are just, when the shit is hitting the fan, about, and if you can't tell, we're friends. In other words, I consider this to be more than just a coaching student relationship. He calls me when he has, it's all good. Don't ever stop that. I want you to continue to do that. I enjoy it, right? But a lot of times when the shit is hitting the fan, okay, Chelsea, this one's for you, okay? They will call because it's like, and I always tell them this is what I always tell them. I'm like, no matter how bad it seems when you're going through whatever it is you're going through, it is never as bad as it seems when you're going through it. It's like it hits you in the face like a tsunami, and if you can just hold on for a little while, just weather that front storm of the stuff coming at you, it almost always works itself out, and it's usually hardly ever even half as bad as you thought it was when it first came.
And you got to talk to other business owners. You got to have a tribe. Find your tribe somehow, whether it be through a business group or through
founding board. You gotta have it.
It's a life-changing experience to have people and under the veil of complete just privacy and have a conversation. There are forums that are set up in a way that allow you to have that conversation. But even if you have an accountability partner, somebody that you can just go and complain to, because I can tell you, your friends who are not business owners do not want to hear about your hiring and firing problems.
No.
They just roll their eyes. Your spouse rolls my boyfriend rolls his eyes.
They don't get it. They want to get it, though, but they don't get it. And it's not possible for them to get it. There's no way. There's only one person in this world that can truly understand where you're going, and that's somebody who's actually done what you're doing.
Yeah, which is a lot of people. There are a lot of business owners, so it's really important to find them.
Very much, and not just another business owner, somebody who's actually done what you want to do successfully. I think I would add that in there, right? That to me is a big part of it. So the service framework, we kind of got off on a little bit of a tangent there, but that's okay. I'm all about these. I love organic stuff. So project scope documents, change orders, phase sign-offs. None of these really were in place with Brennen prior, which also required him he was drugged back into the service process over and over and over. Every time anything broke, it didn't matter what it was, you were yanked right back in. And it was driving you insane because you knew you had to go out and drive sales. And you could not do that if you kept getting yanked back into the service process.
Yeah.
And so
last week, I can't tell you, last week I showed up to the office on Friday.
See, that's awesome. It's running like on autopilot. You come in, get your KPIs. Yeah. We got your KPI dashboard in place, man. You're running it pretty much by the numbers for the most part. If you wanted to, you run it by the numbers.
I run it by the numbers, and then
sales part.
When things hit the fan, then I have to not run it by the numbers. It doesn't happen so long. Months is so long when business has just been not making it, so I can't sleep. I'll take it any day.
All day. Okay, we beat that horse to death. Let's go on to the second topic. Ready? Fine-tuning your offerings. Okay, so remember again. Okay. I'm having to recall. It's been 2 years, right? So I'm trying to think about it. I swear to you, it seems like I remember you talking about trying to do social media.
Oh, we did. Yeah,
okay, you were trying to do paid ads for a little while. You were definitely doing websites for a while. Definitely doing SEO, but you were always more passionate about the SEO.
Yeah,
because your brain, dude, the way your brain works, I'm not gonna lie. You're not even old enough to know who this company is. StomperNet, okay, was actually the 800-pound gorilla for the SEO professionals 10 years ago. I was a faculty for StomperNet. I don't think I ever told you that, but I was a faculty for StomperNet, meaning out of the 5,000 SEO agencies they trained every year, they'd pick the top 10 to come in and be a faculty, right? So I was pretty damn good at SEO back in my day, right? Okay. This guy right here makes me look like an idiot. I mean, dude, you know shit about SEO. It's unbelievable. And so that we just had to lean, basically, and the reason I'm saying that is because we started leaning into what you were passionate and God gifted at doing, and that was the SEO. Because you told me I love the monthly recurring. That was a big part of it. I think at the time you were trying to negotiate with Southwest Airlines. I don't think we ever got. Did you ever get that? Did you ever get that?
Yeah, I learned not to go after.
And I told those kind of deals. Anyway, whatever.
Procurement processes are very, very.
12 to 18 months, it's a nightmare, and the fire process is it's not good. It's not, and they know that they know everybody wants them, so they beat up on your price and everything. So what we did is we went through the process of literally removing everything to where you became nothing but an SEO agency. And to my overwhelming delight, because I have not talked to you in a few months, probably 6 months, I guess, huh? I did not know that you had been. Right now, when you and I stopped working together as a coaching student relationship, whenever that was. About a year ago, I guess. You were doing strictly SEO and crushing it. And then now I see that you're leaning into the e-commerce SEO space. So you had a skill set niche. Now you're getting a skill set industry niche, right? And so it's kind of a niche within the niche. Elaborate on that.
I follow what I'm best at. And I'm the lead SEO at the agency. I've got Emily, who's our SEO analyst, Lizzie, who's the client success advocate, and recently Rebecca, who's writing SEO content. The most fun campaigns are campaigns where you've got absolutely nothing to start with, and you can build a revenue stream that far outpaid 10 to 11 times in just a year or a year and a half what you're being paid to do the service. So if you can generate $30,000 a month for a $3,000 campaign, it feels really good. So
that's a new Audi A5 right there, baby.
What?
That's a new Audi A5 right there. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
You still got that?
Yeah, I love it.
Oh my God, I love it. So
horrible financial decision, but fun.
It was it was good for the soul though.
Yeah. But no, so I won a U.S. Search Award. That's the fancy little award sitting back there for the work I've done on an e-commerce SEO campaign. Those are the most fun. It makes up about 40% of our client base, as I mentioned, and I go where I enjoy. So anything that gives us creative joy. So campaigns that we can actually get excited about, which is difficult when we're working with, someone who makes metal pieces for whatever, anything out there. But, when we can actually generate the revenue.
Nothing against metal fabricators or nothing like that. Nothing.
Of course. We've got one as a client. Nothing against them.
Nothing against them. No, y'all do what y'all do, we do what we do. But that don't mean we got to love it. We just going to be good at what we do.
Yeah, no, but I get excited about this. We make the money. The clients are great. The content strategy is important. It's the clients that align with us most are the ones in that space, and it's the one that we've won awards for. So it's the one that we're going for.
I love it. I love it. But again, the point here is one, we got rid of everything that you didn't love and that you weren't really suited to do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a difficult decision. That is hard, man. That is hard. Whenever you see, wait a second, I got SEO here. I can just sell a website too, right? And you know, it's hard. It's hard not to take that money sometimes. But you held strong to that. You really truly have held strong to that. I think it took about a year to get rid of the clients who, you know, to lead all those.
Oh my God, there's one website that we're still working on.
It's still working. Wait, you still working on it?
A year and a half later, it's like this. It's so slow.
We might be. We'll talk about that offline, okay? But that's ridiculous. Anyway, we'll talk about
it's going. It's there. There's nothing perfect in business. This is a client that we took on 2 years ago. I swear, and the project is still not finished. So let that serve as a reminder that your mistakes will haunt you.
They will. They might not look like mistakes at first, but sometimes they are. So, and I love the fact that you didn't, you know, decide to diversify and doing something else. You went deeper into the niche.
No, we're too small of a team to do that.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. And again, when you simplify your offerings and you get this basically you have an entire product line around SEO. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't even put that in the matter of fact, that's one of the most impressive things we accomplished was the damn product line. That was impressive. You know what I mean? That was just super impressive the way you laid that out in the spreadsheet. You got it all mapped out. And oh man, you can just like Legos, right? You literally go boom, 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 and build it out, hand it to your service department. See you later. I'm going to New York City with my boyfriend. Right? And that's great. I should put that in, but we'll do another episode.
So actual story of what happened. Feel free to publish that.
The product.
No, I made a deal. I closed a deal and then went to New York City with my boyfriend. That actually happened.
Oh, that actually. I didn't know that. That's cool. That's really cool. That's really, really cool. Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that. Okay, so again, whenever you simplify your offerings like that, you know, it allows you to really focus your efforts in that offering, and then you get your process documents in place, your everything, your face sign, everything's in place, right? And so it's comfortable to just hop on a plane and go to New York City, spend a week up there with your boyfriend when you're sick as a dog in the back of a carriage going through Central Park.
Yeah, I wish I didn't get sick. That wasn't fun.
All right, last but not least, okay. You know, and this is a big problem out there for people, Brennen. So we're going to just spend a few minutes on this. And, you know, the drivers out there, when I say owners, drivers for the agencies out there, man, the revenue, driving revenue. It's just like, it's like the Chinese water torture test. It's not too hard at first, right? And then all of a sudden you grow and that pressure just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and just sits on you, okay? And that was happening to you, you know, and that was in 2018. Just to get, do you mind if I give the revenue numbers of 18, 19?
Here, so it's honest, I'll give them.
Okay, sure.
Just so it comes from me. So you'll notice that by me saying this, my goal is to actually provide tangible numbers that people can use to understand how an agency grows. And the freedom that comes from being honest about these things is overwhelming. So I'll give you a picture of the agency's growth curve. We started with 39,000 my first year, then 181, then 335. We closed this last year at 509,000, and this year we're tracking towards 790,000. So it's, you know, that happened. But it, in the moment, does not feel like it. In the moment, the world is about to fall apart, and that comes from having ADHD. That's a common trait with people who have ADHD, which, by the way, is about 50% of entrepreneurs. Is always feeling like the world is about to collapse around you.
Well, the ADHD part, yeah. So
yeah, I mean, and if you want to learn more about it, there's 2 great books. It's Faster Than Normal by Peter Shankman, and Hallowell wrote a book called Driven to Distraction. I highly recommend, because if you have ADHD, you learn how you run a business when you explore ADHD. So what I learned was I'm always going to feel like things are falling apart, but they're not. The revenue grew, the company grew, and it was painful at points, but it's also really fun to look back and say, that was actually how we grew.
Man, so that was powerful, dude. That was powerful. I have to admit, I wish I didn't. Obviously, I have ADHD, right? My brain goes about 3 million miles per hour. I wish I'd had a book like that.
There's a stigma around it. I'll send you.
It really is.
I've got 2 copies right there because I give them to everybody. I mean, when you learn about yourself, you run your business better. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to do an episode on that because I'm telling you,
I would love to.
That right there is a big deal. That's a big deal in our industry, and so is.
I have so much to say about it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, now you look at me, you got me thinking of it. Anyway, we got to get back to the third question here. But there's actually a group out there, and I think that when with ADHD being so prevalent as entrepreneurs, and with the world coming crashing down on you kind of mentality when you go to the peaks and the valleys of the emotional up and downs, right? There's also a severe problem with depression
Yep.
in our industry because we're behind the laptop. We're not out there interfacing with people. You don't get the dopamine from just talking to somebody at the water cooler, kind of thing. You don't get that, right? And so we're definitely going to do an episode on that.
So no, and just 10 seconds I'll take on that is there is a direct link between ADHD and depression.
Beyond a shadow of doubt, yeah, no doubt.
Anxiety. I mean, there are, and business owners and entrepreneurs. So it is something that definitely is I would love to have another conversation. I would be honored.
We're definitely going to do. Matter of fact, I'm going to schedule that. We're going to do that. We're totally doing an episode on that. That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Okay, so now let's get back. But I want to bring it back to where kind of wrap this up. Where
you bet.
Is for the service department to be able to drop some revenue, right? And so Key was his senior project manager, and she's no longer with him now, but she's she's awesome, right? And so he's got I'm sure somebody just as capable in there now. The point being is that he was responsible for driving all this revenue. And again, you heard the numbers, 39,181, 380, I think.
335.
335, and then 509 is getting your service department to actually drive revenue. And let me pre-frame this a little bit. At Get You Wired, when I was running Get You Wired, we had a formula, okay, that all new revenue, we couldn't go over a certain percentage. So if sales has got a pot full of leads and they sold up to that percentage, okay, then they had to go onto a wait list and let them wait until the next month because we couldn't send a big wave through it. So the point being is your service department has to be able to generate revenue to make sure that the balance of the agency is okay, meaning the sales and service balance. And if you haven't figured this out yet, sales, twofold to service, and you're running back and forth and back. Well, how you eliminate that is you get service. One of the tools you use to eliminate that is to get service to drop some revenue. So what we did is you and I talked about it for probably 2 or 3 weeks, trying to figure out what's the best way to go about doing this or whatever kind of thing. And it really did boil down to a very typical mindset of someone in a service department. Mm-hmm. They hate sales. With a visceral passion, hate sales.
Every single time I interview, I use a process called Who. It's a book written by, I think it's, his last name is Smart. George, let's put it right here. Jeff Smart. And one of the questions is, what are you not good at or not interested in professionally? That's one of the questions you ask when you hire. And I will not tell you how aggravating it is that every single person I ask says, sales. I'm like, this is not a sales job. You don't need to tell me that, but I appreciate you letting me know how much you hate sales.
And they hate it. And they hate it. They hate it. So what do we do? So you asked me to talk to a Key, and I talked to her, and what happened?
Yeah, so at that time, essentially it was, her awareness of sales. She was able to tell clients we have additional services that we can add. At this point now, I set it up so well in the sales process, I give myself too much credit. I set it up okay in the sales process to where they know that if there are additional deliverables that they want, they can just let the client success advocate know, which is what we call our project manager. And she'll coordinate making a change order, adding the deliverables to the campaign, either for that 1 month or for all months renewing. And I don't have to touch that. So
that's outstanding. Yeah. And so you became proactive on it. But to solve it at that time, all I did was I met with a Key for, I think, an hour or so. And I told her, listen, you're not selling a damn thing. They're already sold.
Yeah. And the way I think you phrased it was, let's make sure that we're not thinking about it as we're hard pushing something. It makes you feel better. Know that you're helping them. So when your team really stands behind it and believes in your services, which is why it's so important to focus on values. One of the things that's important is this, can we transparently say that we would invest in this if it costs me $1,000 to generate it, to create a piece of content. We're writing 5,000 word long posts. Okay. We bill clients $1,500. The only cost that I don't have is the salaried labor that so if we're writing a 5,000 word blog post and I propose it to a client, invest in this, it will generate a return on investment. Well, I hesitate because I know it's going to take 6 to 8 months for that return to come. And we don't know if Pixelcut Labs as a business can afford spending $1,500 on 4 pieces of content in 1 month. We can't. I'll tell you now, we don't spend that much on content. We don't have that much money. But we have enough to say, yes, it would generate a return on investment, to the point that we believe a company of our similar size in our similar market, we would make the same recommendation to. So we always frame the question, are we going to sell this to a client? If so, let's make sure we would sell it to ourselves before we do it. And then we all stand behind the services, make the sale, and then the client typically benefits from that post.
And so the way let me wrap that up. What you're saying and what I was saying to a key was like, you're not selling, you're helping. You got to understand. And when you take that mindset, meaning, would you use this in your business?
Yeah.
Then it really genuinely is helping. You're not trying to just sell them something they don't need. Mm-hmm. That's the value part. As long as you genuinely believe in the value that the company is delivering for your target audience, you really are helping. You genuinely are helping them. That's no BS. That's no bullshit. It's for real. And that's all we did was let a key know. You're not selling anything. Brennen's already sold them. They're already a client. They're already sold. They already love you. Just be honest with them.
For sure. 100%.
Just tell them, this will help you. And it will. And it will help. Again, don't sell smoke and mirrors. So then, literally, overnight, she was generating what, 10, 15,000 a month?
Well, right?
No? Okay, I got that wrong. I'm sorry. Correct.
I'd take a zero off of that.
Oh, really? Okay, I thought, but she was generating
$10,000 or $15,000 a month. That would be an extra, 120, 180,000 in revenue. I'll take that.
Yeah, all day. Okay, but
I would say 10% of our revenue comes from that type of thing, which is good, more than we would. That's $50,000.
That's 50,000. Yeah, so that's whatever. That's 4,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, that comparatively speaking, when you didn't have it at all before, is 100% expense. That's awesome. And so, but it took, and the pressure that it took off of you though was huge.
Yeah, it's just nice knowing that I'm not the only person that cares. Yeah. And now I've just got the team now is so bought into the agency. I can't tell you how nice it is. Oh my God, the value is such an important thing to focus on.
Yeah. Well, and the values. When you say you mean core value, like you mean value, the core value.
If they buy into it, then they'll sell naturally. I had one of my team members get to work because she took an Uber. She goes, "This Uber driver wants to use our services," and I said, "Oh." It was really fun. It's like those are conversations. And then one
they love
said, I'd be happy to go to trade organizations to help get us business. And it's like, those don't work. Don't worry about it.
Well, Brennen, I got to wrap it up, man. We were supposed to do this for like 20, 25 minutes, and we're almost 45 minutes into this thing. So anyway, hey, that's what happens whenever two friends get on the phone, right? So, all right, man. Brennen, I love you, brother. You know what I'm talking about? And this year, you're going to be breaking 750,000? 700?
797,005.
That's what you're going to break this year. Yeah. And I told you this. We talked for a few minutes in January, just whatever, but we haven't had a depth conversation in about 6 months. I think you might be able to hit $1 million this year, man. I really do. I think you can, But knowing you've already got it all mapped out, and you don't want to break, you got it all mapped out. So, but you will definitely be breaking $1 million next year for damn sure, no doubt about it. I personally think you're going to have to kind of govern your growth a little bit.
That's what we're doing. That's why I said
exactly.
Yeah. We're being very selective.
Yeah. Okay. Smart. That's so good. So good. All right, Brennen, you are a rock star. Thank you so much for coming on and giving me your time on here.
Yeah, you bet. If anybody ever wants to get in touch, ask me questions, ask for resources, I'm happy to send it over. My email is Brennen, BRENNEN, at pixelcutlabs.com. My Twitter is BrennenLB. And then any help with content writing, SEO audit work, managed SEO services, feel free to give us a holler.
Guy with a rock star. If you're an SEO agency and have any questions or whatever, he is an open book. He's genuinely, he's just one of those good dudes.
I've gotten so much help from other people that when I get the opportunity to help, I feel like I owe it to people.
Definitely. But he gives me all the credit for everything, so it's all good.
And my mother.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, actually, your mom needs to get all the credit. Brennen, thank you so much. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll be talking to you again soon. Okay?
Yeah.